Well. Good afternoon, everyone. It's me again, your favorite, most liked. Now, all jokes aside, this is me, Craig, your recovery coach here, and this is our family meeting session that we're doing. And so, I feel good today. I feel good. I haven't been doing these presentations lately because I've been really busy. But however, we are back. We are back bringing you another family meeting. If you know someone that's watching this, or if you're watching it, you know someone, tag them, share, like, subscribe to this segment of our family meeting because it's so important. And tonight, what we want to talk about, so I'm gonna put the title up without further delay. Excuse me. And I don't know why I didn't click on. There we go. The power of family support. All right, this is a family meeting, and we're going to talk about the power of family support. This article right here was brought to you by ElenaRecovery.com. You can go online and get it for yourself. And so we're going to get right into it without further ado. And so recovery is, let me reiterate what it's all about. Recovery is not a individual problem or issue. Addiction itself is a multifaceted problem or issue, if I may put it in that format, because in fact, addiction affects everyone in the household, everyone in the community, everyone that's involved in the process of trying to bring about some healing, bring about some sobriety. And so it takes all of us from different agencies, different departments, different institutions to combat this disease of addiction. Okay? And so let's get right into it. So addiction recovery, the power of family support. Addiction recovery is a difficult process, but with the support of loved ones, it can be made easier. Family members and close friends can provide a vital support system while you recover from addiction. A support system can provide additional encouragement, connection, and community, financial assistance, and more. So in this article, we would discuss the role of family during addiction recovery and how they can help loved ones on the road to recovery. So let's talk a little bit more. How can family members help with addiction recovery? And so one way is by lending emotional support. Okay, one of the most critical roles of family members supporting those in addiction recovery is to offer emotional support. This can be crucial in helping individuals stay motivated and on track with their recovery goals. Family members can provide emotional support in several ways, including, right? And so we're going to talk about three of them, and that is offering encouragement and positive reinforcement. So now we're talking about emotional support, how family members can help a loved one, and that is by offering encouragement, and positive reinforcement. The second bullet talks about being there to listen and provide support when requested. All right, there's a difference where there's a distinction we like to talk about, from listening and from hearing. So listening take more of being attentive as opposed to hearing someone as what they're saying and just let it be a fleeting thought. But when you give it a listening ear, you're giving it some concrete thought as to how can you be of support and to that aspect. The third one we want to talk about helping to create and maintain a positive addiction recovery and environment. All right. And so tonight I'm going to be drinking a lot of water because my throat is kind of dry, and so I don't want to be choking and sounding hoarse. So now we want to talk about addiction recovery is a journey. So maintain a connection. Right? Addiction recovery is a journey, so maintain a connection. Family members can provide a sense of community and connection, which can be helpful for those who are feeling isolated or lonely during addiction recovery. One way family members can do this is by creating and maintaining a positive environment. This includes providing encouragement and support, being there to listen, that word again, being there to listen when needed, and helping with practical addiction recovery tasks. Family members can create a sense of community for those in addiction recovery by connecting with other families in addiction support groups. All right, and so don't feel that you are alone and that your family is the only family on the block or in the community that is struggling with a loved one who's going through some phase of addiction. All right, and so if you know someone that down the street or in the community that may be going through the same situation that you're going through, tap in with them, knock on the door, give them a phone call, send them a text, find out how they are making it through, how are they lending support, and what can you do to assist not only your family, but also to assist them as well, and vice versa, right? These groups can provide a sense of belonging and connection, as well as practical support. Families can also connect with addiction recovery resources in their local communities, such as addiction recovery centers or 12-step programs. This can help individuals feel supported and connected to others working on their addiction recovery. Addiction recovery is hard, so lend a hand. All right? Addiction recovery is hard, so lend a hand. Family members can provide practical assistance to those in addiction recovery by helping them find addiction treatment program, connecting them with resources for addiction support, and helping them stay accountable to their recovery goals. Family can also help with tasks such as grocery shopping, cooking meals, and doing laundry. This practical assistance can significantly help individuals focus on their recovery without worrying about the day-to-day tasks of life. And I think that is so important by lending a hand because a lot of times people that's in early recovery or long-term recovery, it doesn't matter, but it does speak to the volume of how one can become overwhelmed. One can be very much overwhelmed and feel that without the support or without someone giving them a hand or assisting them, it can be unmanageable. And so a lot of times when a person who's in recovery and who's trying their best to get over this hurdle, become regain sobriety, they can oftentimes feel that it can be overbearing, and so they may relapse, and so they may revert back to the same behaviors that they did in the past. Because a lot of times, you know, we as human beings, we are people. A lot of times change is very hard. And so sometimes we gravitate back to that which we are familiar with. And without the correct coping skills or the right support network in place to combat those thoughts, those feelings, those ideas, or those weaknesses. Because a lot of times, sometimes we do get weak, and sometimes we need someone to encourage us, to lift us up, to let us know, say, hey, it's going to be all right. Even when you're having bad days, talk to someone. Don't be afraid to let people know, say, hey, I'm having a bad day. First you have to be able to identify them and speak to that what you're feeling. And so I say that to say this: always be there as a uh, support network to help someone who's going through their stages of recovery. Specific examples of practical assistance may include helping to create and stick to a daily routine, assisting with household chores and errands, providing transportation to addiction recovery meetings and appointments, offering financial support if possible and or required. Okay, and so those are some examples that we can do to lend a hand with someone who's in recovery so that they don't become overwhelmed and feel that they are all alone. Addiction recovery is growth, so lend an ear. Family members can offer a listening ear for those in addiction recovery by being there to support and encourage them, listening without judgment, and providing perspective of feedback when asked. Most of the time, just sitting and listening to those recovering from addiction can help. Oftentimes, just the confirmation that a person was heard will help them feel better about themselves and create new bridges of trust and respect between you. Okay? So a lot of, like the article says, when a person feels that they are being heard, someone who really cares, someone who's being paying close attention to what the person who's in recovery is actually stating, and not just brushing them off as said, ah, you know, you'll be all right. Well, the person may be all right, but a lot of times they may need just to hear say, hey, listen, you can do it. Hang in there. Don't give up. You're stronger than you think. You know, Positive reinforcement goes a very long way when we trying to build someone or help them restore their life back to normal, to normalcy. Okay. All right. Let's talk about something else. The article want us to know about challenges families face in addiction recovery. The addiction recovery process can be challenging for the individual and their family members. It is important to understand that addiction recovery is a journey, and there will be ups and downs along the way. Here are some of the challenges families may face during the recovery process. Let's talk about some of the challenges that people in recovery or family members may face. Communication difficulties. This is very big right here. This is very important. Communication. All right. Let's see how the article speaks on the action of communication. Communication difficulties are among the most common challenges families face in addiction recovery. This can happen for several reasons, including addiction, feelings of shame and guilt, and communication breakdowns that have occurred in the past. Okay, so now there may be some things that haven't been resolved, and so past shame and guilt, make breakdowns can stir up again. Okay, so when you recognize that, let's see what the article says. It is essential to be patient and understand that rebuilding trust and communication within the family may take some time. I know for me myself, when I came out of treatment, out of the therapy uh, community program, however you want to call it, treatment facility, and I knew within myself. I didn't even have to hear someone say it to me, but I knew within myself that I had to prove myself more so than waiting on somebody to give me their affirmation. So I said, well, I have to prove myself because there may be some skepticism, and I'm quite sure there was some skepticism. So I said to myself, I'm gonna have to walk the walk this time. And I'm not just gonna say it like I said did in the past. Oh, I ain't gonna do it no more. I ain't gonna do it no more. I ain't gonna do it no more. This time, I'm gonna have to, you know, put it in my actions. Okay, like my actions speaks louder than my words. And so that's what I did. And so with that being said, a lot of times we as family members we have to allow people to prove themselves, and they know, you'll know that they are doing the right thing because the behavior will change. Not only what they say, but the behavior will change. Some of the things that you may notice with the loved ones who's in recovery and who's working on their recovery, they may be going to some meetings, right? They may be going to bed early, uh, getting up early, going to bed early. Lord willing, waking up in the morning early, getting ready, getting their hygienes back in order, getting themselves prepared for the workforce, getting ready, getting themselves prepared back to higher learning, vocational, things of that nature. Those are telltale signs that a person is working on something productive and positive. One way to start rebuilding communications by attending addiction recovery support groups. Talking about families now. We talk about families and the loved ones or friends that's dealing with addiction. It says one way to start rebuilding communication is by attending addiction recovery support groups together. This can be a safe space to start talking about addiction and recovery. And families can learn from others going through similar experience. Right? Remember, you're not alone in this process. You'll be amazed if you go to some support groups, some of the stories that you will hear, they're not so horrific that whereas you don't want to go anymore. They are stories that relatable, stories that you may be able to identify, and stories that you can feel that uh, listen, if I continue to keep coming to the support groups, I can learn more and more how I can be a better communicator with my loved one, right? And so we're talking about challenges family faces and addiction recovery. And so the first aspect we talked about communication difficulty. The next one we want to talk about feelings of guilt and shame. Another common challenge for families is dealing with feelings of guilt and shame. This is often due to the stigma surrounding addiction, as well as the feeling that they could have done something to prevent the addiction. Families must understand that addiction is a disease and no one is to blame, right? So don't be hard on yourself. If you find out that your loved one or a close friend is in an addiction state or has relapsed, because you know what? It's not your fault. It's a disease. And so, how do you cure a disease or how do you treat a disease? By uh, communication, by attending some support groups, by lending a hand, by listening. These are things that can go a very long way. Uh, Applying coping skills, there's a whole host of things that a person can utilize to help them in their recovery process. Several, several resources are available to help families deal with these feelings, including addiction recovery, family therapy, and support groups. What are some of the other challenges that one faces, a family member may face? Financial stress. Addiction recovery can be expensive, and many families face financial stress. There are several ways to get financial assistance for recovery, including medical insurance, and sliding scale payment options. That one is something I may be aware of it. Maybe we call it something else. We call it sliding scale payment option. Woo. Now, if anyone can identify with that or know exactly what that entails, sliding scale payment option. I don't know if that's a layaway plan, you know, but anyway, there are resources available. All right. It is also important for families to understand that the cost of addiction recovery is worth it. In the long run, the investment in addiction recovery can lead to a healthier and happier life for the whole family. All right. There is help available. Boundary settings. Okay. There are boundary settings. The most important things families can do in addiction recovery is to set boundaries. This may include setting limits on contact, such as no phone calls after a certain time at night or only allowing visits during certain hours. Family may also need to set financial boundaries, such as not lending money or only paying for addiction treatment related expenses. And so that is so key. And that's so true. So, because a lot of times when we are in our addiction, we have been very manipulative, conning, baffling, uh, conniving. All those things are we, because there's a distortion, all right? There's a mental distortion in our thinking. And so a lot of times when we are on the drug, that's what they call it, a mind-altering substance. The drugs are mind. It takes us out of the realm of our normalcy into the realm of abnormal. All right, abnormality. All right. So I'm using these big words to only to say that you're spending money when you're giving money to your loved ones. Make sure that it's for the right purpose. But a lot of times we may say, "Well, I need $50 to go do this or do that." And if we're not being truthful with ourselves and with our loved ones, 9/10 of the time we may utilize it for something else. All right. Setting boundaries can be difficult, but it is important to focus on what is best for your family in the long term. Families should communicate their boundaries to the individual in addiction recovery so there is no confusion or misunderstanding. All right. Set some strong boundaries. And the last one, not the last one, but next to the last, we want to talk about family support is vital. The addiction recovery process varies everywhere, and there's no one size fit all approach. However, family support can be a vital part of successful recovery from addiction. Families can offer a listening ear, practical assistance, and understanding. As their loved ones navigate addiction recovery, additional families can seek out addiction recovery support groups to connect with other families who are going through similar experiences. While addiction recovery can be challenging, it is worth the investment for the whole family. If you or your loved ones are struggling with addiction, we encourage you to reach out for help. Addiction is a disease. Once again, addiction is a disease. And it is important to get professional help. All right. We here at Capital Recovery Center, me myself, even though I am a certified peer recovery specialist, I am no counselor. I am no therapist. I am no doctor. But what I can do, I can link your loved ones to those professional people who are gifted and talented in their field and who can better assist. All right. And so this information is a group setting. for support for our superiors and the family in large. All right. They said there are many addiction treatment options available, and we're able to assist with those counselors. And so we have a partner, a clinical aspect of Capital Recovery Center called, it's known as the First Step Clinic. We can link you up to that aspect of the field, and we would love to help you. All right. The last and not least, we want to talk about how to change your life after long-term drug addiction. And this is short and brief. And it talks about, it says, dealing with addiction is hard on everyone involved. But post-addiction requires an immense amount of support and dedication. So now we're talking about how to change your life after long-term drug addiction. The article says dealing with addiction is hard on everyone involved, but post-addiction requires an immense amount of support and addiction. So after your addiction, there's still more work to do. There's still more grinding. There's still more staying on top of your game, what we call bring your A game. And so still things that we must challenge ourselves to improve, become better every single day, all right, with the right support and dedication. If you or your loved ones dealing with drug addiction, what we just talked about has been proven to be effective as long as we work together as one big family, all right? And so today we've talked about, as on the screen it goes, talked about the power of family support. This is a family meeting, and we was talking about the importance, the power of family support. And so I want to leave you with that. And so if you ever want to contact us, please feel free to contact us here at the office. Telephone numbers running across the screen. It's 856-391-7449, 1-800-236-2448. And as always, how can we help you with your recovery today? And also, what does recovery means to you? All right. Once again, my name is Craig, and it's been a pleasure to be here to share some information. And the value of family, the value of having a strong, healthy relationship. We talked about lending an ear. We talked about lending a hand. We talked about setting boundaries. We talked about communication. We talked about the emotional aspect. And so there's a whole host of information. We talked about reaching out to support groups, reaching out to other people who may be of an assistance, reaching out to professional people. These things are so vital to the growth and prosperity of people that's in recovery. And so remember, we were talking about today the power of family support, right? And that's what we was talking about, the power of family support. And listen, I'm not sure how you begin your day or how you start your day, but I think that it's very important to acknowledge the whole aspect of your life. And so I start my day off. I try to do it every morning by acknowledging my higher power. That is my focal point, and that's how I get me through the day. And it helps me to challenge a lot of things that may come my way that I may not be prepared for. However, that's how I start my day. And so I encourage people who are watching this You know, find a method or routine as a family, as a unit, to come together and to be able to assist one another in the process. Because once again, addiction is a disease. All right. And so we need a force greater than ourselves. And we need all the help we can. Comment, subscribe, let us know what you thought of this segment. We'd love to hear from you. My name is Craig. I can be reached here at the office, Capital Recovery Center, 856-391-7449. We're located at 72 North Pearl Street, here in the great city of Bristol, New Jersey. And that's in the South Jersey part of New Jersey. Take care. All right. Stay blessed.